What's up, everyone? It's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today we got polynomials for you, right? We got this huge polynomial, but don't be scared. We got this. 30x cubed y minus 45x squared y squared plus 135xy cubed. And all we got to do today is just find the greatest common factor. Now, you know that the greatest common factor usually, it will be known as the GCF, right? Greatest common factor, GCF. And greatest common factor is a huge term for all of mathematics. So beginning algebra, just starting off with math, you would probably have come across this type of term before. So nothing new here. The only thing is that we're just applying it to polynomials. So a greatest common factor for polynomials, greatest just means the biggest, right? And common means that they just have to have all of them in common. So the biggest common factor. Now, there's two different types of factors here because we have a polynomial. It's either going to be your numbers, so it's going to be the biggest common number, and we'll say or variable, because sometimes you might not have both of them, but sometimes you will. It's the biggest common number or variable that can be divided by each term. Okay, so numbers are numbers, variables are the letters. In this case, we have variables x and y. Now, just know that a GCF, or a greatest common factor, can never be higher than the numbers that are given. So always shoot for the lowest number out of the bunch, right? Because that's going to tell you the greatest common factor, and you don't really have to do that much work for it. So for 30, 45, and 135, keep in mind you don't have to worry about positives or negatives for your greatest common factor, because usually a greatest common factor is always going to be a positive value. But between 30, 45, and 135, let's work on 30, because that's the lowest number possible. Now, usually, by definition, it's going to be the biggest number that can be divided by the 30. But me, I like to work in multiplication. I like to whip out those times tables because it's just easier for me to understand. So I look at the word 30 and I say, okay, what two numbers can I multiply to get to 30? And there's only a few of them, right? There's 1 times 30. There's 2 times 15. And 3 times 10. Ooh, there's a lot going on here. There's 4, no, but there's 5 times 6. Okay, we technically have 8 letters. Actually, just kidding, 8 numbers. 8 numbers that can possibly be the greatest common factor, which means that the highest one, the biggest number, that is the most common between 45 and 35, is going to be the GCF for your numbers. Now, if we just compare 30 and 45, right? What are two numbers that can be multiplied to get to 35? Well, 45. 1 times 45. 2, 3? Actually, yeah, 3 times 15. We're getting somewhere. 4, no, but 5 times 9. No 6, no 7, and no 8. So now we're cutting it down a little bit, right? We definitely see that, obviously it can't be 1 because there are higher numbers that they have in common. For example, they both have 3 in common, they both have 5 in common, and they both have 15. Right now, the 15 is winning because remember, the GCF has to be the biggest common number between them. So let's see. Now I say to myself, okay, 135. Whew, we got to whip that out. So 135. What two numbers can multiply together to get to 135? 1 times 135. 2, nah. 3, 4, I think so. 3 times, let's see, that would be a 12. That's a 1, so 45. 3 times 45. 4, no, not 4. 5 for sure. 5 times what? 20, that's a 2, that's a 7. 5 times 27. 6, 7, not that I see. 8, no. And then 9 times 15. Okay, what is the highest number that is in common between them? You are absolutely correct. It is the 15. 15 all around. 15, 15, and 15. This one was a tricky one. But notice how there was no 27 for 30 and 45, and keep in mind that you can't go higher than 30. Okay, so we know that we have a 15. I'm going to write that number down here. But now, let's do the variables. Notice how we did the numbers first, and now we just double back on the variables. So let's see. Let's start with x's first. Do your x variables, analyze them, and then go to your y's. Now in this case, 30x cubed y. We have x cubed. How many x's do you have? You have a total of 3. So x, x, and x, triple x. 45x squared y squared. How many x's do you have? Yeah, you got 2. So double x. And then for 135xy cubed, how many x's do you have? You just have 1. So as far as the x's go, what's the greatest common number of x variables that you have? Yeah, you only got 1 in common, mainly because you only got one of these guys. So I can only pick up 1x from here, 1x from here, and 1x from here. No more, no less. So I know that only an x value is going to be a part of my greatest common factor. Mainly because this one only had 1, so I can't say that I have 2 in common. I can't say that I have 3 in common because not all of them have the 3 or the 2. Now let's do the same thing with the y's. For 30x cubed y, how many y's do we have? We got 1 y. 45x squared y squared, how many y's do you have? You got 2 y's. 135, ooh, hold on. Colors, Christina, y squared, 2 y's. And 135xy cubed, how many y's? 3 y's. Okay, how many y's in common? How many complete total y's can I have in common between them? Did you say 1? You are absolutely correct. I got a 1y there. I can only pick up 1y here and another y here. So 15xy. And that is your final answer. That's the greatest common factor between these 3, and that's it. Now, as you get better, this will all be happening internally. But I just want to, write it down on paper just so that you see it in front of you. But then as you're working through these, you can quickly identify a greatest common factor by just rolling through in your mind, okay, your times tables for this, times tables for this, times tables for this. What's the highest number? The 15. And then you can get real good and just look at these and say, okay, the greatest one is x and 1 y. And that's it. But gotta start somewhere, right? And I'm super proud of you for coming here and learning about it. And I know that you're going to be able to crush these on your test and quiz. So thank you for coming here. I hope this helped you out. Let me know in the comments. Try to get back to you as much as I can in my free time. And I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're having a great day. And keep studying hard. All right, I'm always rooting for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.